Today's guest is Linda Simensky, head of children's programming at PBS Kids. She spent 9 years at Nickelodeon. She was the senior vice president of original animation for Cartoon Network and also a fabulous sitar player.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you. So I've always been inspired every time I hear you talk about your vision.
What really inspired me in the first place was having kids and sitting and watching TV with my kids. Even as a 2-year-old in his own unique way, I could see he was interested in science and how things worked, and I would always think, you know, why isn't there a really funny, interesting show about science for kids? The other thing that influenced me is one of my all-time favorite shows from growing up was The Electric Company. And to me, The Electric Company was a show that was funny and cool and really educational.
Did you know it was educational at the time? Like, did you feel like you were learning?
It was very clearly educational. You know, there were, they
Words.
were spelling words out and they were learning to read, and I thought, well, you know, that's what PBS should be doing. And that is really what inspired me to want to work at PBS.
Where do you think people go wrong? Like, to make something that's entertaining and educational, and then it doesn't always mesh.
Right. A lot of people got really nervous about being funny and being educational, as if there were a sliding scale. I love nothing more than the sound of both of my kids laughing at a show that's on.
What do you think as parents we can look for when we're differentiating between a good show for our kids and a show that maybe you know, might be fine but not as good as some of the others?
Yeah, essentially you're thinking, my child could be friends with that character.
So can you give me an example? So Sid the Science Kid.
Sid the Science Kid, I think, is the obvious. Here's a kid who's interested in science, and you know, he thinks of something and he asks about it, and everyone in his life, instead of saying, I don't know, they try to answer the question. And I think Sid's a really good example of what to do if you're a kid, if you're a parent, if you're another kid, when somebody's really interested in something. Honestly, as a parent, that show has helped me, because there have been times where my kids have, you know, like found things in the yard, and instead of going, ugh, I go over now with a stick, and I think, you know, what would Sid's parents do in a case like this? They wouldn't just turn away, they'd embrace this as a learning moment.
So what's been your favorite experience, your favorite show that you've helped create?
I like all of them. I can't say that I love any one show more than the others, because each of them has funny moments and each of them has funny stories that go into it. What I really like to do is I like to go back to the very earliest incarnations of the show, maybe the first pitch, and just look at how much the show's changed and all the work that's gone into it.
What would you say is the biggest difference between PBS Kids and the other networks?
I think it's just the amount of time we spend in preparation for getting it on air. Wildcrats was probably in development and production for 5 years before it made it to the air. We know by the time it gets on the air that it's effective. We have promised parents and educators that we're going to do this. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it's a requirement that we do it.
It's our destiny. This is
right,
what we have
it's our
to be
birthright.
doing. It's our birthright.
Yeah. Yes, when Lyndon Johnson declared this is what he was thinking.